things a little bit differently. Hey, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's number one Chief Rocker and Nick's University main man, Uncle Freezy. I'm joined by Crazy Teddy, lifelong Lakers fan, and we are here to talk that Lakers talk the way that you like to have that talk to y'all. What's good, man?
Well, I was to for the people out there listening. Let me categorize my two of my life changing experiences as a Laker fan. In the early '90s. I was working in a sporting goods store, and my girlfriend, who's my wife at the time, calls me. She goes, "Hey, they just announced Magic Johnson had HIV," and I'm like, "Girl, if you want to break up, you just say you want to break up. You
Right,
ain't gotta. You ain't gotta make it personal."
right,
And
right,
then I
right,
turn around and ESPN cuts on the giant screen TV we have to the announcement. And I'm like, hang on, baby, I got to go. I got to go.
right.
And I had a similar experience. She and I were walking through Palmetto Moon one day, and my neighbor calls me. She goes, "Did you hear about Kobe Bryant?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "He's dead." I'm like,
Oh
"Girl,
boy.
I
If
will
you want to break
fight."
up, just
Right. I will. I'm like, "Girl, I will fight you to the death when we get home. You can't be playing like that." She goes, "No, no, 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 no. I'm serious. I'm serious." So I hang up with her, and I'm walking through Palmetto Moon, and I get on Twitter, and I nearly have the
oh,
same heart attack that I had for Magic Johnson 30 years earlier. So yeah,
right,
that's just two little quick Laker references for where I was and when it happened.
right. Yeah, the Kobe thing is heartbreaking. The Magic thing was heartbreaking at a time when we were chasing ghosts, so to speak, because we didn't know
Well, we
what
didn't know.
HIV was. Yeah, yeah,
We didn't know. We thought Magic was going to meet the same fate as Kobe,
right,
but
right.
just in a little more methodical and maniacal manner. Now, I'll
Yeah,
say this: the Kobe thing bothered me more as a dad and as a coach
right,
than it did as a Lakers fan.
right, right,
Now, had it been 2009 and Kobe died, yeah, I'd have been a little
right,
more bothered
right,
as a Laker fan. But as a dad and as a person who's coached just about youth everything, that it bothered me more as a dad and as a coach that he was taken in such a manner and at such a time and such a place. But
right.
the Laker thing still I still post pictures of the boys wearing their soccer jerseys number 8 and number 24 for Kobe
Right.
Day. So we
For
still
Kobe.
post that.
Homer. Yeah, 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 yeah. I had a
Ironically, their
conversation,
soccer uniforms are purple and gold, but that's a
purple
story
and
for another
gold.
day.
Well,
Yeah,
well, some people would say, gold and purple, but Lakers fans, they love that purple and gold, man. But hey,
we do.
so I was talking to one of my uncles, and I told him that the Lakers may have the greatest franchise in professional sports, in American professional sports.
Okay.
And he laughed. He laughed. He was like, "Man, the Lakers never even had a real point guard. Who's their best point guard?" And so I'd say Magic, and then he's like, "Yeah, of course, but who else?"
Derek Fisher was good.
And so when I thought about it, I'm like, "Man, you know what? The
Listen.
Lakers has only had one great point guard in their history."
Yeah, but what's the prerequisite for greatness? The Bulls have never had a great point guard except for Derrick Rose.
Y- Yeah, yeah,
That,
but I don't want to put the Bulls in the category with y'all though.
well, but what I'm saying is also historically everything was built around big men, and
Right,
I think the Lakers have had a couple of big men along the way. I can't remember. We can
right.
we can look. I think Google can tell us. But listen, Nick Van Exel was good. He was not
He wasn't great.
life changing, but he was
Yeah,
good.
he was all right.
Derek Fisher was, I guess you
Okay.
call him a game manager,
Yeah, he was okay. Yeah,
right? I mean, so it's not like it has been. Now Rondo was good.
he's all right. Yeah,
I mean, but they're not. These aren't Steph Curry, but
right.
historically they've built around big men.
Right. I would say historically they built around shooting guards. But
Sure,
but who am I
sure.
to tell? Who am I to tell a Lakers fan?
Well, okay. So guard play has always been important, but that
Right.
doesn't mean you have to have an all-world point guard.
Right. Right. And the Lakers haven't. Every organization has that one position where you're like, yeah, we probably could have done. See, for the Knicks is not point guard, but power forward.
Right. Right.
It's been powerful. You're like, are you really claiming Charles Oakley as the Dave DeBusschere at 6'6", 210 at power forward? Are you? Is Julius Randle statistically the greatest power forward in Knicks history?
Statistically, he might be.
Statistically, he is.
Yeah, because
Right.
he's very, he puts up, if you were a fantasy owner, you'd feed him every week. You would have
Yep.
him in every week because he puts in stuff in every category.
Right. Right.
And he wears Skechers. Anybody with the balls to wear Skechers you got to give him credit for having the balls to wear.
You got to give him extra free throws. You got to give him extra.
You got to give him something. You got to give him something extra for that.
Yeah.
You really, really do. But now that I'm thinking about it, but that's like saying the Cowboys aren't a great franchise because they only had one good running back in their history.
No,
or two good run, or one or two. I mean that you.
I understand where you're going with it, right? I understand where you're going with it because at the end of the day, you're more concerned with
American franchise is correct. I think if you want to say it in American sports, the Yankees fans would differ. Dallas Cowboy fans would differ.
Right. Right.
And then who else?
Who else wins championships in every decade?
That's what I'm saying. Who else?
Right.
Else? Nobody.
Yeah. The point I'm getting at is constant. In every decade, the Lakers are in the championship conversation.
Every decade.
You can't say that about the Yankees. The Yankees hadn't won since 2009.
Ironically, the Lakers have won 3 times since 2009, but that's the story,
Right.
So no, and you go back, they've either played for or won a championship in every decade,
or been in the conversation. That's the part that I'm talking.
Right. No, they've been relevant.
Right.
For almost all of their existence. Now, you talk about, that's fine. A lot of teams win, right? The San Antonio Spurs were really good for a really long time, but they're not the kind of franchise that could be in this conversation because even kids in third world countries knew who Kobe was.
Right.
They may not have clothes, but they knew who Kobe was, and they celebrated Kobe. You'd see kids in the Middle East and in impoverished nations, they're still wearing Kobe t-shirts or Laker t-shirts or Shaq or whoever. Certainly LeBron now that he's he for the record, he's a great point guard, but that you can tell your buddy LeBron's a great point guard, but that's a story for another day. But so there are only a few franchises that transcend everything. You first got to be winners. You got to be. We've already established that. You got to have iconic players. We could do 10 podcasts on the iconic players, but the brand. It to me, a team doesn't reach this even doorstep of the conversation until non-fans wear their gear just because it's either their gear or because it's fresh.
Right. Right.
And whatever, name another criteria that you want to throw in, and the Lakers hit it all.
Right. Right. So I'm with you on that because at the shooting guard position, we don't have to go there because once you get to Jerry West and depending on where you place Elgin Baylor at the 2-3 or maybe some whatever you
era.
Put him.
He could play the 4. He could play the 4 for the Golden State Warriors if you really he could play the 5.
Right. At 6'5",
Right.
Yeah, and so my uncle another one of my uncles tells a story about Elgin Baylor. He said he saw Elgin Baylor jump in the air, take his do-rag off, and fold it up and put it in his pocket. and shot the ball and came down. And when he hit the floor, he called a timeout and they checked his hair and it was not a hair out of place.
Well, listen,
Elgin Baylor was just that good.
If you're going to do that in the midair, you should not lose your hair. But so, are we going to throw Glenn Rice and Mitch Richmond into the conversation? No, we're not. We're not. How about Eddie Jones?
No, we're not going to do the Hall of Very Good or the Hall of Halfway Decent. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Not for this exercise. That wasn't the intent.
Okay. I'm just saying if we needed to, we've got a deep bench of very goods.
Right, but those guys, they played for everybody. Very good players change teams a lot. So, I mean, Eddie Jones played for like 3 teams. Glenn Rice played for very good players. They change teams, but
Kobe's you know, don't. Glenn Rice hated his time in LA, so you can't really count it. Right, he was very disgruntled about being there. But I'm going to tell you this: that '98 Lakers team with Shaq, Nick Van Exel, Kobe, Fisher, and
Corey
Eddie
Blunt.
Jones. If that team played in this era,
Eldon Campbell.
I mean, no. Yeah. Well, no, we had to get rid of Eldon Campbell to make room for Kobe's contract, right?
I can't remember.
I can't remember all that. But either way, that team in this era, my God, Nick Van Exel, Kobe, and Eddie Jones with an unlimited license to shoot. If they didn't feed the big boy, I mean, come on, dude, that would be. At any rate.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You're a Knicks guy, and the Knicks they meet a lot of those criteria. They've had transcendent players. The brand is solid. The gear is fresh. People wear the gear, whether you're from the tri-state area or whether you're from wherever, right? Bum F Egypt.
Right.
But where the Knicks leave is they don't have the trophy room that is requisite of I don't think the Patriots, because outside of the mass holes that love the Patriots,
right,
nobody really loves the Patriots. In fact, everybody kind of snubs their nose.
Well, and that's the reason why I didn't include the Chicago Bulls in the conversation, because they were great for an era, and once that era is over, once that player leaves, they are not relevant at any other time in history.
No, and they weren't relevant any time before that era.
Right, and that's the reason why when people mention Derrick Rose didn't play for or lose NBA titles. He's not 0-2 in the NBA Finals. He didn't make it.
And in fact, he never even sniffed it.
Right.
That's not to say he didn't have a good run. That's not to say he didn't have a good run. But there's good runs.
But so did Kevin Johnson.
Right. Exactly. Ooh, who would you rather have, Kevin Johnson or Derrick Rose?
Kevin Johnson.
I might agree with you. Although Derrick Rose, if we'll be honest, was really fun to watch.
Yeah, fun to watch. See, Kevin Johnson was going to give you those points, and he was going to give you double-digit assists also.
And he was probably going to rebound more.
Yeah, and for those that don't know what Kevin Johnson is, think John Morant. Right?
But stronger. But stronger.
Yep. Stronger. And 10 assists a game.
Yeah. Yeah. A less selfish player.
Yeah. With the same points though, about 20 in his prime, about 22 and 10. Some years 20 and 12.
A better decision maker than Ja.
Yeah. Oh.
Although Ja fancies himself as a better shooter.
Yeah, he's definitely or wants to be a better shooter.
Right, he desires to be a real shooter. Yeah. But I think the Yankees obviously could stake claim to that, right?
No.
Okay.
When's the last time the Yankees have been relevant?
Dude, last year they won like 195 games, didn't they?
Right.
And they fizzled out in the ALCS?
Was it the ALCS?
Either way, they fizzled out.
Yeah, I mean,
Aaron Judge hits 1,000 home runs. They win 1,000 games. I mean, it's tailor made, right? Everybody's eating bacon, egg, and cheese, salt and pepper. You know what I mean? Everybody's having that for breakfast.
The Aki way. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think, and I don't think there's an NHL team that
not anymore.
not even close, right?
Not even, because Detroit has fallen on
Detroit's
hard
fallen on,
now.
but Detroit they were relevant in pockets,
Right.
and
Right.
they're not a
Edmonton,
global brand.
no. The Islanders, no, they're
No,
not.
no. The
You
Boston
know,
Bruins, no. I
no,
mean,
no.
the Cowboys only in brand name and recognizability.
Right.
The winning has now they are always relevant,
Right.
but not from a winning perspective.
They are the Hannah Montana
Okay,
of professional sports. What's the lady? What's Hannah Montana's name? Her real name?
Miley Cyrus.
They yeah, they're the Miley Cyrus of, because you don't know exactly what they do, and they show up on the radar occasionally with some wild viral moment or something.
So
but on the field, they don't do anything.
I'll play with that reference, because if you get past some of Miley Cyrus's bull, she's super talented.
Right.
But you mix in the bull and the crazy and all that, and you probably have the Dallas Cowboys.
And you get the Dallas Cowboys, exactly.
It's a lot. Right. It's fun to look at, but you're not buying the box set. I mean, you're not downloading her full anthology. Yeah, when she covers Jolene, because that's her godmother, and that one or two. But I mean, but Dallas has had star players.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, they've had star coaches.
Right. That's what they do. They lean on that. Dallas is hell-bent on getting stars. The star means something to them.
Well, there's a star on their helmet and on their field.
Yeah.
And now let's be honest. On TV, Dallas's uniforms look really good.
Yeah.
They look really, really good. But I will say this, and I may have told you this before. You can go into any break room. So this is also part of my criteria, okay? There are very few teams that you can do this with. I call this the break room test. I know specifically the Dallas Cowboys do this, but tell me if you think this is part of a criteria we can add. You can go in any break room in any business in the United States, table full of men, table full of women, table mix, whatever it is. You can walk up to them and go, Dallas Cowboys, and walk off. And you've started an hour-long conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
Between the teeth sucking and we them boys. I mean, the Lakers, for better or worse, drive that same.
Right.
Who's even close in the NBA? The Celtics fans would obviously say the Celtics.
No, one area of the country. In one area of the country.
Right.
The Celtics rule everything.
That one little corridor on the upper end of I-95. It's the same douchebags that are Patriots fans and will trump how great a recognizable brand.
And what about this? What about this? This has happened to me the last 2 years. The random, bizarre, but like your boss's boss shows up on a Zoom meeting, right?
Yep.
And you look behind him, and in the background, you see like either a red Auerbach book or a Larry Bird jersey, and you're like, "Come on, bro, really?"
I got one better.
You're. So my boss's supervisor is a Celtics fan randomly, and when you talk to him, like, "Man, how did you get to be a Celtics?" I'm from New Hampshire. Oh,
Hampshire.
Okay.
I'm from New Hampshire.
Yeah,
New Hampshire. And New Hampshire is just people from Massachusetts that didn't want to pay taxes. They moved up. And Vermont.
Oh, I thought it was people that just want to smoke weed, or is that Vermont?
No, that's Vermont. Vermont is, they fancy themselves as hippies, but they're New Englanders, so they're not really hippies.
How can you be?
They just want to have guns and weed up there in Vermont. But I'll do you one better. In 2008, I went to work for a company out of Boston. The guy they brought in to run our department, who was the two biggest. Can I cuss on your podcast?
Yeah. This is
okay. The two biggest douchebag or cocksuckers I've ever worked for in my life, both were named Jason. I don't know what that means. I'm just throwing it out there.
Just throwing it out there. Right.
This mug shows up. It's 2008, and he's literally the biggest cocksucker I've ever dealt with in my
Right.
life.
Right.
Son of
Now,
a
are
bitch.
we talking about Deadwood cocksucker, or are we talking about?
Woo. We're talking about Al Swearingen, Mr. Woo, cocksucker.
All right. Okay. So I needed a point of reference, right? I just wanted to know.
Because at least Swearinger was funny. This
Right.
dude was
Right.
not funny. This MFer had a green 17 tattooed on his body because it was the Celtics.
Havlicek. Right.
It was the Celtics 17 championship.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
and
bizarre, bro. That's peculiar, bro.
Now he fancied himself. He was a Kevin McHale disciple. And I was just like, oh, this son of a bitch. I can't believe I'm dealing with him. And then the next 2 years, I was like, ha, 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 motherfucker.
Right.
And so but again, so I go up there to work in the company.
In hell.
Well,
so
okay.
You go to hell, the place, the home of the Celtics. And Red Sox, by the way.
Listen, fucking Kurt Schilling had a business in this building we were in. And I go up there and all these mugs are wearing Pierce and Garnett. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, fuck me. You know what I mean? Right. I got to listen to all these mugs and they're Pierce and Garnett. But outside of these dudes, you've got random sprinkling of it's I would say it's a semi-iconic brand.
Right. Oh, it's iconic, bro. It's iconic.
But it's not
Yankees.
It's not Yankees.
It's not Dallas Cowboys, right?
Okay, well, it's Red Sox. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. Okay, now it's ahead of the 76ers.
Oh, definitely.
Although
the Sixers are not in the top 10.
Although AI brought the Sixers up to a level they hadn't achieved in 40. But that's just it. If you go 40 years, the Paul Pierce, the Big Three championship, and the last Celtics championship, you could have bought a mortgage and paid it off in that time. To me, that takes you out of the question. Which I get the point about the Yankees and the Cowboys. Could we make the same? Could we throw the Steelers in there? Because the Steelers, everywhere you go, there are Steelers fans.
Well, yeah, Steelers fans are everywhere. But remember, Boston just played in the NBA Finals 2 years ago.
They did.
Yeah,
they did.
So,
they did.
Yeah. So right now Boston is relevant.
And in fact, they're picked to win. And in fact, they're picked to win.
Right. And so they're relevant. But I had a question I want to ask. I just want to ask this question for the sake of because I don't know how much time we'll have. Of course, we'll play it by ear. It's the day before a holiday and all that stuff. So I don't know what what your time will be like. But do the Lakers have 3 NBA players that can stake the claim for the greatest basketball player of all time?
Are you going to count Wilt as a 76er or a Laker?
His formidable years were with the Lakers. His winning years, his impactful years were with the Lakers.
Okay. So prior to really you and I showing up on the basketball scene, really prior to Kareem, it was Wilt was positioned as one or two of the best players ever. You can throw Jerry West in there. There was a time when Elgin Baylor was considered as good as anybody in the world. But
he was probably the best individual player. Him and Oscar Robertson, probably from him. Oscar Robertson, maybe. Hal Greer from the 76ers was really good.
So he was in the conversation. So let's just take it for what it is. Wilt state the claim for the longest time till a fella named Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came through,
Right.
who
Right.
I don't think gets the credit, because I'm like, so we can only mention LeBron and Jordan. Those are the only two options we have, which, by the way, one's a Laker, so we'll get to him. You've got Wilt, legitimately could have been the best we've ever seen. Kareem displayed it as well as anybody we'd ever seen, right?
Right.
Magic, I don't know if he was the best basketball player to ever play, but Magic was at the time the most revolutionary player to play a position. Is that
Right.
fair? I mean, there were
No.
good guys. There were plenty of
No,
guys.
I think you're not doing Magic. I think you're doing Magic a disservice.
He was
And
he was fantastic. He could
Right.
he could say he was the most versatile player to ever play.
I would say that Magic Johnson may have had the highest basketball IQ of anybody that we've ever seen. Now there are others
There's
that would
plenty of others.
that would take the claim, like
Right.
Larry Bird
Right.
was
Right.
another guy that was playing chess at a computer type level.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes,
But
yes.
Magic Johnson, for the winning that he brought, because the Lakers were all right. They were a good team when they got Magic.
Right.
But
They
when
were competitive. They were
yeah,
very
but when
competitive.
Magic got there, he took them to another level. So
Yes.
you got to take into account the impact of the player, what he does on the floor, what he meant to the franchise, and
Now
what he meant to the league.
he took the league to another level.
Right.
We don't even have conversations about any of these other dudes if Magic, and I got to give Bird his credit here. If they don't do what they did when
Right.
they did it,
Right.
we're none of us care about any of this. We're still all baseball fans.
Right.
We're talking about is Ohtani going to the Rangers this year? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
And so forth. So Magic is there. I think we got to skip to Shaq. I don't know that anybody on his best day is better than Shaq was on his best day. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. Because I don't think Shaquille O'Neal is better than Patrick Ewing. Right. And I know NBA fans, will love to grill me on that one. But I want to save that debate for another day, because I have it as Kobe, Magic, Wilt, Kareem. I think all four of those guys, you can argue maybe the greatest. Wait a minute, who did I say? Kobe, Magic,
Wilt, Kareem.
Oh, and LeBron. So I have 5 Lakers ahead of Shaq. Right.
Now listen, I think Anthony Davis is more talented than Shaq.
Okay.
Anthony Davis, when he's on his game, and he's on his game a lot, we bang on him a lot, but my man is really freaking good.
Right. When you look at the Lakers roster right now, is terrible, but they're being carried by LeBron and Anthony Davis.
God, I thought it was better, but whatever. But so you got 4 or 5 dudes who you could stake an argument or a claim. And now you've got 3 to 4 of them that were the best player during their time.
Right.
Now everything advances, everything changes, everything, and
what do all those dudes have in common? LeBron, Wilt, Kareem, and so LeBron, Wilt. What do those 3 have in common? They were the number 1 picks in their draft.
They came from somewhere else.
Yeah, and they were the number 1 picks in their draft.
Okay.
So everybody knew that they were going to be great.
Right.
And they lived up to expectation.
And for the record, Anthony Davis was number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah. And these guys knowing that they have expectations, have lived up to those expectations.
Right. In a place where the spotlight. Remember the Gatlin brothers sang a song, "All the Gold in California."
No, I don't remember that.
It's an old country song. It talks about living in the spotlight will burn a man outright, and it was talking about it doesn't matter where you did it before. California's a brand new game.
Okay. Okay.
So it's actually a really good song. You know, I'm not a super country guy, but it's a really good song. It talks about the
Are
heat.
you a music guy though?
Oh,
For those
I'm a
for
music
those
guy.
that are watching.
I'm a music guy. Oh man, am I a music guy? But I'm telling you, listen to it. It's All the Gold in California by the Gatlin brothers, and it talks about how California's just different, and everybody ain't built for the spotlight.
Right.
It also
Right.
says all the gold in California is in a bank in the middle of Beverly Hills in somebody else's name. It's
Right.
actually a good country song, but
Right.
so it's a stage that the seat is perpetually hot. It's
Right.
even when they're doing well, the seat is perpetually hot. I mean,
Right.
I remember listening to an interview with Dr. Buss, and they were asking him about what do you think about contracts where players are getting bonuses if the team makes the playoffs? And he looked at the guy. He goes, "If we don't make the playoffs, they're not going to be on this team."
Right.
and
Right.
so when you and only how many franchise in all of sports, the pantheon of sports, that the only measurement for did we have a good year
Is that we win it.
if we win it, not if we win, if we win it.
Right.
And how many franchises only retire numbers of players, not that are in their Hall of Fame, that are in the Hall of Fame.
The Hall of
So,
Fame.
so very few franchises have such lofty standards that if we don't win it, we didn't have a good year.
Right.
And you can't get your number retired unless you are a Hall of Famer.
Right.
And they've got enough Hall of Famers throughout the course of or the annals of history that they've got rafters full of numbers.
Right.
And one dude had two numbers retired, and I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron doesn't have number 6 and number 3 retired when it's all over with. So, or 23 rather, 6 and 23. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't retire both of those.
Both. Wow. Wow. What I would say to that, man, is I personally think LeBron James is the GOAT. Right?
I
And
mean,
and then here's the shocker. I think Kareem is second. Now, I know people may take people may take that the wrong way. Like if that's a shot at LeBron, it's not. I mean, a shot at Jordan, it's not. I just believe that
you there? I can't hear you.
there it is. All right.
Okay.
So I just think the Chicago Bulls tightened up the ship long enough while Michael Jordan was there and had everything pristine for Mike Jordan to win championships. Right. And I'm not knocking Mike Jordan's greatness. Right. I'm not knocking his greatness because
No,
he
you can't.
is
Nobody would not. Nobody would discount that.
right. But if you're talking about, think about this Hall of Fame coach.
Yep.
All-time running mate.
Yep.
Right. Scottie Pippen is a top. Let's just say 75 for the sake of argument. But I think he's a top 40 player all time.
Well,
right?
and listen, there were times when Scottie felt like he was better than Jordan.
Right. There were times I would agree.
There was probably a 3 to 4 year stretch that I mean it's been through. We've seen it that Scottie. There was a ton of acrimony because Scottie thought I'm better than this dude, but he's the one getting all the girls.
Right. But let me ask you this. At any point in LeBron James' career, did he ever play with a top 40 all-time player? The best player that comes to mind is who? Anthony Davis, Dwayne Wade?
Dwayne Wade is probably going to get the accolades.
But he's not top 40.
I think Kyrie is a little overhyped.
Right.
But I think Anthony Davis is, again, he's all world talented, but I think he might, if you can't put him in the top 40.
No.
I'm not sure you can put Dwayne Wade in the top 40.
No, Wade's not in it. Dwayne Wade might not be a top 5 shooting guard all time.
I don't know that he is.
Right.
There again, I don't want to come back to the same old thing. Is he significant? I mean, we keep talking about Kevin Johnson. Is he significantly better than Kevin Johnson? I don't know.
No. And so the reason why I say LeBron is because LeBron went to 3 different grease fires and won championships.
Yeah. And every time he leaves, they go back to being a grease fire.
All of a sudden, the roof is on fire. We don't need no water.
Right. Let it burn. Let it burn.
Right. And for those that disagree with me, how did LeBron James end up in Cleveland? Cleveland earned the number 1 pick. Trust me. They were terrible.
Yeah. And he took a bunch of bums. Well, he took them every year.
But I was going to say, what's the difference? What's the difference between him taking them to the second round or the conference finals and him taking them to the finals? They still lost. You know what I'm saying? Those teams were. You're not going to tell me that a center combination of Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Anderson Varejao was a legit championship contending rotation. No, it was not.
No, I'd take Vlade Divac and
Brad Miller, not
Brad Miller. I was gonna say Brad Miller. I was gonna throw your boy Scott Pollard in there, but
Scott Pollard. Bro, there's always room for Scott Pollard jokes.
Right. I wouldn't even need to bring Chris Webber into this. Right. I would take Big Country and Abdul Rahim. Not Abdul. What was the guy's name? Played for the Grizzlies.
Hashim Thabit?
No, was it Abdul Rahim?
No, he's a power forward, but he did play for them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'd take him and Big Country over him. What was Chris Jackson's? What did Chris Jackson say? Mahmoud Abdul Rauf.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Which, by the way, he could have been an elite point guard if we want to talk about it. Yeah. Here's the thing.
Jalen Brunson. That's who Jalen Brunson is, by the way.
Oh, okay. I saw a dude today look just like Jalen Brunson, and I was going to stop him and go.
It may have been him. How tall was he? About 5'11"?
He was about 6'2".
Oh, it wasn't Jalen Brunson then.
Okay. He might have been 5'11". He just either way, he might have been wearing Skechers too. Also, I can hear the Jordan arguments. And let me say this. I've bought 1 million pair of Jordans in my life, okay?
Right.
And I loved them all, and I played in them all, and I loved playing in them, blah, blah, blah. But I was never what you would say was a Jordan fan per se, okay?
Okay.
Never was a Chicago Bulls fan, okay? So let me say that.
Okay.
What if Jordan does sign with Adidas or Converse, and we don't have the Nike brass balls marketing approach?
Tinker Hatfield and those boys.
And all of that. Also,
I think
not just the shoe design, the marketing campaign.
Right. I was gonna get right into that. If there is no Tinker Hatfield, with Jordan, the Knicks win 4 championships in the 90s.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yep. And here's my reasoning behind it. Right? Because even though the NBA loved Mike Jordan, right? But this going into the new TV era, the revenue era, where can you imagine Adidas running commercials in between at halftime versus Nike running running a commercial playing the Beatles during a
Right.
commercial. See,
Right.
Adidas was not built for that. Adidas was
No.
not built
No.
for
No. And nor was Reebok.
right.
Nor was Reebok, and God knows Converse.
Converse was yeah,
Nah. Nah.
yeah,
That's now. I'm not knocking who Jordan kept away from a championship. Okay.
yeah,
I'm not knocking that he closed the door on the Lakers, the
right.
Pistons, and the Celtics.
Yeah, and the Blazers. Yeah,
Well, but he kept the Blazers from winning, the Knicks from winning, the Jazz from winning. He
right,
kept Barkley and Gary Payton from winning championships,
right,
and he largely kept the Knicks out and
right.
some other really good. So I can't knock any of that, and I can't say that he was not as good a basketball player as we've ever seen. I can't say that.
Right.
I think it just comes down to the flavor you like.
Okay.
Because and I know we always have to have these conversations because it's good for it drives conversation, and we need to have conversations, and they're interesting. But you told me a couple years back that Steph Curry may be the best point guard that's ever played.
I think he's in the conversation.
And I walked off from that going, man, this dude, he's just yanking my chain.
Right.
Now, and I've swung to your side. I've swung away from your side on that. I don't know that you're wrong about that. I initially said that you're wrong, and I don't know that you are wrong about that
Right.
because Steph Curry could be the best point guard we've ever seen. But let me ask you this. Everybody in the basketball hemisphere and world is playing Golden State Warriors ball or
Right.
Phoenix Suns ball or Loyola Marymount ball, however you want to call it, right? Run and gun, run and gun, run and gun. But we've only seen one team ever win with it, and it was the same team. And they had the two best shooters in the history of the world together. The last few championships have all been won with the old, it's not the old way, but big teams have won the last few championships outside of Golden State. So, not to take away from Steph Curry, but why are we all so devout to a system that only one team in the history of the world has ever won with it?
I think because people do it wrong.
Okay.
Like you know how you know how people say I'm gonna like people cover a song, but they don't cover it like the original. They do the cover, but they do it their way.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, maybe this cover is all right, but it's not as good as the original. And then sometimes you're like, oh, this cover is better than the original.
We haven't had that yet. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. What I'm saying is I don't think teams actually mimic. They don't Xerox what Golden State does, right? And what they do is they take some tendencies,
okay,
right, and then add it to like Sacramento zooms up and down the floor, right? But they don't, because they score a lot of points, don't mean they're effective like Golden State, right? Like the Atlanta Hawks right now with Trae Young. Trae Young should have been. I think Trae Young and Kevin Huerter were drafted by a former Golden State employee to be the Splash Brothers, but Trae Young can't shoot, and Kevin Huerter didn't have the upside of a Clay. He does with Clay. Kevin Huerter.
He's not Clay. He's not Clay. He's not Clay.
Red Velvet is a airport vending machine version of Klay Thompson.
Okay,
that's just what he is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Red Velvet, if your parents are watching, I'm sorry.
Ironically, it's in the smoker's room at Atlanta Hartsfield Airport.
Right.
But so I don't know that Steph Curry isn't the best point guard ever. But I mean, I don't know. I go through periods where I think he ruined basketball, and I go through periods where I go, well, no, he transformed it. I mean, we got to give the dude his credit because
I think Michael Jordan ruined basketball. right? Because and this is a reason why. And I'm not saying it's Mike's fault, right?
I can't co-sign that. I can't
And
co-sign that he ruined it
right,
because he.
but it's my point though. This is what I was going to say to you. My thing is I think Michael Jordan and others ushered in a style of basketball based all on athleticism with some skills, right? Whereas before, when we were talking about the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson era, you're talking about super high IQ and
Right,
skill,
right.
right? Right. And then before that, before them, it was about high basketball IQ and toughness and some skill. And Michael Jordan, and think about all the guys that I'm talking about, right? The from about 83 to about 90, that era of who were the two best players in the NBA from about 83 to 90, you think?
Well, I think Bird and Magic will get a lot. Now, Jordan was a scoring machine,
Right.
and so
Right.
he was lauded at that time. But I think if you were just going to give trophies, Bird and Magic would stake their claim.
Right.
Zeke has always said he's better than all of them.
Yeah, he's skilled though. He was super skilled.
But dang, Olajuwon.
Athlete.
I mean,
In the early years, Olajuwon was an athlete. Dominique Wilkins,
as athletic as there's ever been.
right, right. Michael
And
Jordan,
ironically, Tom Chambers was athletic as we've ever seen.
right, right.
No, there were plenty of dudes, but Jordan just put everything into a package that. So I had a buddy who's a devout 49ers fan, okay?
Oh boy,
From back in the day, and he was Joe
he's ran his
Montana.
Tina Turner jersey.
Yes, all of that. Joe Montana, Steve Young,
Hacksaw
and
Reynolds.
you would say, so we're talking early '90s. We'd say, well, so and so throws it harder than Montana. He goes, let me explain something to you. You can name a guy who does this better, a guy who does that better, a guy who does this better, but you can't name one dude who does it all better.
Right.
So, and I think the Jordaneers will say, yes, Steph Curry was a better shooter, but you can't say one dude was better at everything as a totality as good as Jordan was. I think that's what they'll say, and it's hard not to sign off on that. I think LeBron is a more well-rounded, more diverse player.
Right.
But
yeah, LeBron is better, bro. LeBron is the package, bro. Because if I ask you, is Michael Jordan in his prime more athletic than LeBron James in his prime?
God, LeBron James could be
at 6'9", 250 is what the NBA lists him at.
He could be the best edge rusher the NFL's ever seen.
Right.
Can you imagine if LeBron James had one of those Kevlar bats in his hand? Wouldn't you hate to be the damn third baseman?
Yes.
That he got around on a pitch.
Right.
And you saw your life flat. I mean,
because I'm asking you, think about this. Think about what I'm asking you, right? At what of those things, because you just said, is one player better at everything than him? And I'm asking you, is Michael Jordan better at a specific thing than LeBron James? Is he a better athlete? Is he a better three-point shooter? Is he a better rebounder? Is he a better passer? Is he a better defender? Probably defender.
He's probably a better defender.
Yeah, better defender. Yeah.
But I think that's to say LeBron couldn't play defense I don't think he ever prioritized
No, I
defense.
didn't say he could. I'm just saying as of we review their career.
No, Jordan certainly a better defender.
Yeah.
Now the funny thing is the scoring is weird because who's the all-time leading scorer?
Guess who?
Yeah. But
And mind you, Michael Jordan retired twice. So
right.
It's not like Michael Jordan didn't play in his 40s or 39-40. Michael Jordan played for the Washington Wizards 2 seasons.
Yeah, he sure did. He sure did. I think what we overvalue with Jordan is the no losses in the finals.
I think that's a team thing. I think that's a team accomplishment. Now, did Mike have a heavy impact in those finals? Absolutely.
No doubt.
But what if I told you that LeBron had Kevin Durant by his side in his entire career?
I get it.
Would this conversation be different?
I get it.
Absolutely. It would be. Oh, I'm sorry. Is Kevin Durant top 40 all time to you?
If you want to say lethal scorers, yes.
Okay. Well,
okay. If you want to say top 40,
Larry Bird. Say LeBron had Larry Bird next to him his entire career.
Oh God.
I'm just grasping at a top 40 player.
Well, no, it would be completely different.
Right.
It'd be completely different.
Mike had that. Did you know that Michael Jordan has not won a playoff series without Scottie Pippen? Michael Jordan is 2-8 in playoff games without Scottie Pippen.
I remember how bad they were when it wasn't him and Orlando Woolridge.
Woolridge and Quentin Daly and
then
Craig Hodges.
Right. I remember, and Craig Hodges trying to win a 3-point contest. Yeah, I remember all that. But I don't know. I think to the original premise of what this episode was about, you can pick one or two guys from every team and say these guys were the greatest or whatever. But man, if you look down the pages of NBA history, the best of the whatevers, whenevers, and whoever's, man, there's a lot of purple and gold represented.
Right.
Because we haven't even talked about how good of an actual basketball player Pau Gasol was. We haven't talked about how good of a basketball player Lamar Odom was. We haven't talked about how good of a basketball player, really how good Vlade Divac was. We talked about Vlade, but we didn't talk about how freaking good he was.
Or Elgin Baylor is better than you. Wouldn't trade Elgin Baylor for all those dudes that you mentioned. Elgin Baylor was that good. Elgin Baylor is in the conversation for greatest small forward of all time.
No, we hadn't even talked about Worthy, and I know you're not a Worthy guy, but Worthy. We hadn't talked about how good Byron Scott was or Michael Cooper. We hadn't talked about any of that. How they all could have been. I mean, Michael Cooper was the original 3-and-D guy.
Yeah.
And Byron Scott was one of the original super athletic wings.
Right.
So I mean, we discount.
It's funny how you discounted Norm Nixon because he got traded to San Diego.
Listen.
Oh, were they in the Clippers? They were in Los Angeles. No, they were in San Diego.
San Diego, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think they were in San Diego still.
It was San Diego still. No, I'm not discounting Norm Nixon, but I mean, yeah, we haven't even gotten to Norm Nixon because Norm Nixon could have played on 10 different teams.
Right.
He just happened to be the guy who.
So who's the greatest Laker of all time then? If we start at the top, is it the Mamba in your opinion? Because of longevity? Because he's born a Laker?
The thing with him, though, he was an asshole.
So you want to turn those championships in
No,
for prayer clause?
no.
Okay.
Now,
All right.
and in fairness, the night his last game. So Nicole went to a fashion show with some neighbors across the street. Their daughter was in a fashion show.
Okay.
And I said, baby, go ahead. It's Kobe's last night. Do what you got to do, girl. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be babysitted. You don't have to worry about it. She comes home. You know what Kobe did on that last night. We don't have to discuss that. And I said, did you get any lingerie? She said, no, but there was this purple ensemble that I almost got. I was like, girl, let me say this. If you'd have come home tonight with purple lingerie on Kobe's last night, where he scored 60 points and we hit the damn game winner,
right,
there wouldn't have been enough potassium pills for either one.
Right.
I'd have blown out my Achilles trying to tear that
Charlie horse.
Yeah, I'd have pulled 3 hammies trying to tear that purple
and smoked a pack of cigarettes after.
Kobe could make the argument for greatest Laker, and I think but so could a lot of guys.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna put Kobe up there, bro.
I'll give you Kobe. I can't. Because listen, I got to say this about Magic. Magic did some harm to the Lakers.
Yeah.
If he had just shut up, they'd have signed Kawhi.
Oh, you're talking after the fact. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, I thought you were talking about during his playing time.
No, during his playing time where Magic harmed the Lakers was he and Pat Riley still wanted to run a slave driver type of thing. And everybody was like, we're not doing this anymore. We've won 3 championships. Right. We're not, we need a break. And Magic was like, no, we got to practice tomorrow. They're like, dude, we haven't washed the champagne. So Magic wore people out at the same rate
as Michael Jordan.
Pat Riley wore everybody out.
Yeah.
And Pat Riley knew it was time to go. They just couldn't get rid of Magic.
Right.
So, but Magic did more detriment. Now, at the same time, Kobe's last few years, if you're an asshole and you're not performing at top level, nobody's going to play with you.
Right.
And so Kobe, that's why nobody would sign with him. LaMarcus Aldridge, go down the list. Whoever you want to name.
Because they were soft.
Well, I look back on it and I go, well, yeah, I'm still bitter at John Amici not signing with them, but that's me being bitter.
Yeah, Scott Pollard jokes are welcome.
But I think if you just took a Gallup poll, Kobe probably gets it. But we also got to remember, if Kobe's still alive, I'm not saying they don't paint murals, right? But I'm saying everybody ain't getting Kobe tattoos.
Yeah. And see, that's one of the things that as a fan of another NBA team, we don't get it. Right? So we don't get the fact that why don't you want championship? For instance, as a Knicks fan, I see people in line cashing checks every Friday, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like they'll come out there in street clothes. Oh, hey, I got a hammy. A hammy? But we just saw you in Midtown at the club.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so for guys like the Larry Birds of the world that want to squeeze every ounce out of a championship run, the Kobe's. Kobe is in that group, Tim Duncan's.
Yep.
That body lets them down in later years when they're still trying to. Steph Curry.
Yep.
Klay Thompson.
Clay more than Steph, because Clay, it's getting early. It's getting late real early for him.
Yeah.
Clay, Steph is still at a very high level,
Right.
but like the people who didn't want to honor LeBron's championship with the Lakers because they're Kobe devotees. Listen, if Osama bin Laden won a championship for the Lakers, I'd hang it in the rafters. That
Right.
doesn't mean I got to get my kids a Osama bin Laden jersey,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
I mean,
I agree. I agree with you. But the thing that is a point of contention for me is a self conflict for me, because
okay,
how can I say LeBron it could be the GOAT, but Kobe is the greatest Laker?
because LeBron doesn't feel like a Laker.
Right. Okay. Okay.
He feels like, I don't want to say mercenary, but it's sort of mercenary-ish.
After
Now,
four seasons?
well, yeah, but they've only been good for 2.
Well, he played during COVID though.
Well, I mean, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, you got to give.
And
I think you got to
Doctor
give them some.
and the year they won it, Dr. Bus died and Kobe died, and it was COVID. And
Right.
we need to put a little more respect on that title.
Right. Right. Yeah. The world was going through a crisis in the middle of this 4-year stretch.
Right.
Right. And
And
then at the same time,
it was 2.5 years of that 4 years.
right. Right. That's the point that I'm getting at. I mean, we got to cut LeBron some slack. We look at LeBron and his perfection and think he has to be perfect all the time.
Right. No, I'd be fine. I'll be fine if they put a statue out. I mean, my God, they got an Oscar de la Hoya statue out there.
Yeah. 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 I got one
mean,
more question before I go,
yeah.
man.
Okay.
I ate some beef stew.
Okay.
What's the difference? Beef stew, stew beef?
I think it's tomato.
Oh, okay.
It's pecan or pecan.
Oh, if you're French.
Right.
But I'm in the South, so it's pecans.
Right.
Okay, so yeah. So, but here's the thing: if you could do the Lakers' entire history over or traded for another franchise, would you do it? Would you say, for instance, would you trade the Lakers' success for the Yankees' success? And I know it's apples and oranges. I know that.
No.
Right.
I would take.
Would you trade it for the Celtics' big run in the 60s and spot championships outside of the 60s?
No. The guy who owned Real, or was the president of Real Madrid in the early 2000s, okay? I forget his name. But he assembled what he tried to assemble, and he did to some degree, what he called Galacticos.
Right.
Meaning these players were so good, they were out of the galaxy. They were almost aliens, right? He wanted his teams to have Galacticos.
Right.
The Lakers have always been, if you're going to start with even whatever sport or whatever, give me your Galacticos franchises. The Lakers, from an certainly American standpoint, they're the number one Galacticos for all of history.
Right.
So okay. I wouldn't. Now, would I trade the one championship from the 80s and the bubble championship for a Gamecock football national championship? Probably.
No.
I think I would.
No, and trust, I drink out of a Gamecock cup every day. Right? No, I would. But anyway, thank you for coming and talking that Lakers talk the way that Lakers fans like to have that Lakers talk to them. I wish we could do this again. And for those that don't know, Crazy Teddy invented podcasting. Right?
That was a long time ago, bro.
That was a long time ago in
a
different world,
ago.
right? It was a different world, right?
I appreciate it. And go listen to Randy Newman's I Love LA and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man. Hey, peace, everybody.